What's up everybody, Nate here from Out of the Basement, bringing you a brand new action figure review. Today from Star Wars The Black Series, we are taking a look at the updated Phase 1 Clone Trooper on the 3.0 body from Attack of the Clones. Recently we've been getting a lot of Clone Trooper love, and with this new 3.0 body from 2023, I think we've finally hit a really nice stride between theatrical and animated appearance while having a nice bulk and great articulation. So this video is going to be more along the overview style of things, just kind of showing you the differences. And we're also going to be comparing the Phase 1 Trooper here to the 2020 release and the original 2013 release as well, so you can get a really good look at just how different the figures are. So to take a quick look at the packaging, this is in an Attack of the Clones box, which I think this does also break the Black Series rule. Technically, usually they do not release the same exact figure, so to speak, in the same box, but the 2020 release was also in an Attack of the Clones package. So here we are again, just now with this updated version. So it's in the red packaging. We do have a new shot of the mural art on the side. Here's the bio on the back if you want to pause it and read it now. This is also technically the 5th figure in the Attack of the Clones Galaxy subline, and we have a barcode on the bottom as well. As far as accessories go, we get the usual suspects here. We have the Clone Trooper carbine, unpainted, and the Clone Trooper rifle, which is also unpainted. And since it's separate in the package, we do also have the removable helmet, which looks pretty damn awesome. You can see it's missing a little bit of paint there. The black square on the chin is not painted in this time, and neither are the grill marks on the side. Thankfully, there are sculpted marks for them, so that will be an easy, quick fix if you so choose. But I definitely wanted to point that out, especially because the Target exclusive Phase 1 clone we just got a couple months ago has all of this stuff painted in, so I'm not really sure why on this release they chose to forego those details. We do also have paint on the back of the helmet and the little red on the fin, which is nice to see. So they went ahead and painted that, but didn't give us the stuff that's more so on the front of the figure, which is usually what they do. In Hasbro's case, they will paint all the details on the front before they give us anything on the back, so that's a little unusual. Of course, just like all the 3.0 clones, this is absolutely another banger figure for the most part. You know, the articulation is great. The proportions this time around, I think, are really solid. We even have a slight advantage over like the Phase 2 clones, simply because the Phase 1 helmet, it's a little bit bigger than the Phase 2, so it fits better over the clone head, and you can't really like see the chin or anything hanging out like you typically do on the Phase 2 troopers, even on the 3.0 body versions. So there's not too much to go over that differentiates this from all the other clones we've taken a look at this year already, but I will point out some other minor key details here right now. Of course, as you saw when it was in the package, we do have another flat top clone head, which looks pretty good. Kind of in the middle of the road in terms of shininess. I really hope eventually Hasbro starts mixing it up a little bit with the Clone Trooper hairstyles. Even though they are supposed to be absolutely identical, it would be nice to see some of the different hairstyles make an appearance on these new clone bodies. Because as of right now, if you wanted to display them all without the helmets, they would all have the flat top. And even though they are clones, it would just kind of look weird to have all of them with the exact same hairstyle as well. So hopefully we can get some variation in the future, but I display all of mine with the helmet on, so it's not really a big deal to me. And it is great though that they did remove the 5 o'clock shadow. I thought that looked terrible, so I'm glad that they really only did that on those first Phase 2 clone troopers and have since ditched it. I think that was the right move because it just doesn't look very good. And the only other detail I really wanted to point out too, again, is we do have some missing paint right on those 2 little black lines there. Now, if you do look up some actual movie shots of the Phase 1 clones, some of them have those painted and some of them don't. So you could kind of argue that it is intentional, but I think across the board, usually these are also painted in on the top, the straps, so to speak, and they are not painted on this figure, unfortunately. And I just think it's really strange that the main line version of this figure has the least amount of paint apps that we've seen so far. The Phase 1 that was in the Target 2-pack, which was sold for a discounted price, had more paint on it than this guy. And we also saw the same thing with the Phase 2 Trooper in that discounted 2-pack, where that had more paint on it than the mainline version itself. So it's kind of strange. It's definitely odd in my book that it seems like the mainline versions of the clones are the least painted, when typically I would assume it would, you know, kind of be the other way around, considering those ones are being sold at a discount while this one is a full $25 figure. Now, it's not that big of a deal breaker to me, but I definitely want to point it out. And one thing that this does have an improvement on is we do finally get the full painted frown on the helmet. That's actually not something that we've seen on any of the previous Black Series releases, besides that Target 2-pack one. So it's great they finally got that right. But of course, you guys all know me. I love to point out those little missing paint app details. Even though they don't bug me that much, I always just feel like it's worth mentioning. So now let's do some comparisons here. We'll start things off with the Target 2-pack Phase 1 Clone Trooper, which was technically the first one released. And you can just see, you know, we get the black lines painted on the chest. We have the grill marks on the helmet itself. And of course, tons of blue paint throughout the figure. And it even has the red dot on the back of the fin, along with all of that blue paint. So they really went the extra mile with the Target figure. And then, of course, you can see the difference there with the chin square. So it's just, again, it's really odd that the single release, the standard version, the more expensive version, and that was just an avalanche, is missing those paint apps. And now here are all three of the Black Series plain Phase 1 Clone Trooper iterations. Starting on the left, we have the 2013 Orange Line version. Then we have the 2020 Attack of the Clones update. And, of course, the new one all the way to the right. So just looking between all three of them, like I mentioned earlier, I think the new one definitely has the best sort of mix of proportions and articulation. I'm sure there will be people out there that will still argue that the original has the best proportions because it's big and bulky, but the articulation is so bad, I personally cannot say that it is a better figure in any way. And like I mentioned earlier, the newest version all the way on the right is the first plain version to have the frown fully painted in, which is a detail that really sticks out when you actually look between all three of them. Now, the original figure here has the chin painted on it, but we have no grill marks and we also have no chest marks either. It does feature the red point on the back of the fin though. The 2020 is unpainted on the chin, unpainted on the chest, and unpainted on the grill marks, but once again has that red dot on the fin itself, although I think it's definitely in the wrong spot on this particular copy. That's probably just a QC issue there. So I think clearly there has been some consistency actually throughout the line there with the plain Phase 1. Seems like they never really like to paint those little minor extra details. So at least they're kind of consistent in that regard. Actually, a lot more consistent than I thought they were going to be before I started doing the comparison. But of course, the downfall of the original is the horrible articulation. I also think the head is just way too small. I mean, there's no way that there's a human head underneath that helmet unless they are the Revenge of the Sith Black Series Obi-Wan under there. The 2020 has slightly better articulation, especially back in 2020. It was a massive upgrade, but the proportions are all wonky on the figure. The glued down knee pads are very unfortunate. The shoulder pads are also way too small, so it almost creates like a bobblehead effect on that release. And so that's why I really do think this 2024 updated version is the best of both worlds. We have the amazing, fantastic articulation of the 3.0 clone body. The helmet actually looks proper, and you can obviously tell that there is a human head underneath. The knee pads and the elbow pads are not glued down anymore as well, so posing and not having weird looking knee pads is a huge bonus. And finally, having that full frown painted just really seals the deal for me. And so there you have it. There was my review of the brand new updated 2024 plain Phase 1 Clone Trooper. It's definitely the best plain Phase 1 that we've gotten in the line so far. Totally worth the upgrade in my opinion from the 2020 release. While the missing paint apps are a slight bummer, You know, it is really simple to actually fill those in, which I'm probably going to actually do myself. All you really need is a little Gundam marker action on it, and it'll take probably all of 30 seconds to add those paint apps to the figure. So thankfully they were still sculpted on. That really makes it easy. As always, it is worth mentioning, especially when you consider that Target 2-pack version had all of those details painted on it. So it's really weird, really hard to say why the mainline version is missing those paint apps, but it is what it is. So there you have it. That's my review. I would definitely recommend picking this one up. I personally already have 4 of them. I love army building clone troopers, and I'm probably going to end up customizing them to some degree as well. Unless, of course, they choose to give us the updated, higher ranking Phase 1 clones, which I would take those too. I think we're in desperate need of some updated versions of those. So we'll have to wait and see, but for now, I hope you enjoyed my review. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about the Black Series here on the channel. I got to give a big shout out and a special thank you to all of our current channel members. Your continued support is truly appreciated. And thank you to everyone else out there for watching. I'm Nate from Out of the Basement, and I will see you next time.